condition this. I'm not so worried about this being a problem of the owner, because the owner needs, that's a problem for the private parties to figure out, I think. And Canopy would presumably have to deal with that with the owner. But
We did, on page 7 of the staff report, we did talk about, denial of the requested appeal, and then we put in conditions if the variance is approved, consistent, because again, this did require a variance, so there is a variance staff report.
yep.
It's just that the report now turned into an appeal report. And so that's where we did talk about, the variance was approved to remove the sidewalk, but we still need some other things done to the site, like such as conditions for the tree, the timeline for how long the variance is valid for, are the two conditions added. So, you could add something in there if you're going to deny the appeal. Yes.
So there was a discussion with Derek and Brajesh earlier that potentially you could grant the appeal, which granting the appeal would require a sidewalk to be built, but a condition of that grant would be that the sidewalk has to be constructed at grade if it can legally be constructed at grade. But I'm not sure that works with their timeline.
I'm going to have to leave at 3 or shortly after, so a couple things here. If we were to allow Canopy Builders to not build this sidewalk, would they be required, could we still require them to pay the payment in lieu for the sidewalk? That way, if there's a way for the city to come back, if the decision comes back and says you can do that and not make those stairs ADA, all right, the city has the funds to put that sidewalk in.
As a separate process.
Boy, I'm not blaming you, because I'm with you on all these procedural questions. We are really caught up in the red tape here.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Yeah.
Because, I deal with ADA a lot on commercial properties, and it's 99% of the time, it's, you have to meet ADA. Yeah, it's a small, tight space, but how do you say no to people that, not necessarily in a wheelchair, you're talking elderly people, people with walkers. I have members of my family that have cerebral palsy, and stairs are definitely an obstacle. Right now, anybody in that neighborhood has to walk in the street, so everybody is treated equal in that way. But I do have a problem with you're providing able-bodied people a sidewalk, but ignoring the non-able-bodied person. So, I personally, based upon time here, I would be personally fine if we were to grant the waiver of the sidewalk, but potentially have payment in lieu, if it's possible.
If, I would say no to that, but I would also say that if this board grants the variance, they don't have to build the sidewalk. But that doesn't prevent them from continuing to work with staff, either this owner or the future owner, work with staff in the neighborhood to find out if they could get an at-grade sidewalk.
So if we grant the appeal, we're forcing them to build one, even if it looks like a big, ugly ramp for 115 feet.
So you could grant the appeal and condition the granting of the appeal on it being legally constructed at grade. Keyword legally there. If it cannot be legally constructed at grade, if we cannot find a way to work with the ADA requirements that we have, then the applicant would not be required to construct the sidewalk. They would only be required to construct a sidewalk at grade if it is legally feasible.
Because you're treating all parties equally by not putting in the sidewalk if it is not ADA.
Correct.
You put in a sidewalk and you can't, it's not defensible that you're excluding non-able body all right, we're not gonna put it in.
We may not get to a point where we can find enough legal precedent or guidance from state or federal guidelines that would allow us to waive the requirement to put in all the ADA required infrastructure.
And Eric has a little, something to add.
There are two pathways to the same outcome.
We know you, Derek, but,
You just talked about the one.
no, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we know you.
Derek Kilborn, Director, Planning Department. There's two pathways to the same outcome. Hearing some of the comments about the VA loan, how that complicates a CO, TCO situation. The second pathway we were thinking of here is if you vote to approve the variance request, that will detach the sidewalk question from the existing permit on the single-family house. The developer has stated on record that they are interested in continuing the discussion about the sidewalk. As staff, we can do that. We might be able to do that under a separate right-of-way permit that is now detached from the house. That would be required if, that would be our pathway if you approve the variance today to waive the sidewalk requirement, but we continue that discussion. The alternative you just talked through, which is uphold the appeal, require the sidewalk only if the sidewalk is at grade. That does not detach it from the single-family house permit that we are dealing with, and so it's still bound to the single-family house permit. So approving the variance, it would require some trust that we will continue that discussion about the sidewalk based on reputations involved. I believe that that would not be an issue in this case, and we would continue to do that as staff with the developer. But I think those are two pathways to the same outcome. It might give you some options to deal with the sidewalk and resolve the CO, TCO concern.
And Chair, just want to remind you, we still have to do cards.
I know, I didn't forget.
Okay.
This is the, yeah, I know. You're giving me a lot of leeway here. You only wagged your finger once, that's good.
Chair, I don't- maybe this isn't the right time, but would the appellant be agreeable to that proposal, or maybe we should ask that question later?
Let's hear the blue cards so we can, because then we can get to a point where we can do something, yeah. So, have the blue cards. And, I don't want to overly influence everyone from the neighborhood to speak on this, because please speak your mind, but I think you can really tell a lot from the discussion here on what our thoughts are.
And Megan, is this
And so,
you? Okay, so I'm going to remove this blue card because it's the applicant.
all right, first is Wayne Baker. So as you come up, when you speak, name, address, and confirm you've been sworn. And then next will be Robin Cates,
How many minutes do we have on this?
3.
Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah, I had one and a
You
half.
can raise that up. There's a little button.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this. I'm so sorry.
Raise this actual whole podium right on up for you.
How convenient.
You're just a little taller.
I am, I know.
And
There we are. All
whoever,
right.
Robin.
3 minutes. My name is Wayne Baker. I live at 800 7th Avenue South. This house is also called the Herman Anson Dan House. It was actually owned by the city and sold to me in 1980. It was supposed to be torn down for the 8th Street connector. It was the only house that was saved. I've been there for 45 years plus. Our neighborhood is paying money and taking time to appeal a city planning department decision to forego a sidewalk on the 8th Street side of a new house built on a Roser Park corner lot. This lot had an existing hex block sidewalk on both of its street sides. In this case, 9th Avenue and 8th Streets. The lot also had an old historic house on it. Somehow permission was granted to tear the historic house down and remove the sidewalk on the 8th Street side. I remember both the colonial house there and the hex block sidewalks on both sides. Do you need a deposition? Do you need an affidavit from me? Probably not, I hope. The sidewalk on the 9th Avenue side remains and has been restored. The restored sidewalk on the 8th Street side of this house would connect the restored sidewalk to an existing concrete staircase on the northeast corner of the lot. The planning department has been to Rosa Park, but of any of you decision makers, the neighborhood is an ADA nightmare. Many sidewalks end in staircases, not ramps. Concrete staircases have no railings. Poorly maintained streets and sidewalks have missing or misaligned bricks and hex blocks. Many streets have sidewalks only on one side. Why don't you help us get the city to fix it all? Without this sidewalk, this portion of 8th Street would have no sidewalk at all. Repeat, it would have no sidewalk at all. Stop wasting our time and money. Keep the historic streets, sidewalks, and alley configurations as they are. They are part of Rosa Park's unique charm and history. The city needs to do better with historic preservation. You have let us down in the past. If I had an hour on the clock today to discuss the degradations over the past 46 years to my home and our neighborhood approved by the city, I would not have enough time. Thank you.
We have questions for these folks, or they just get to say their piece?
They say their piece.
That's good.
Yeah, the Robin Cates on the left podium, and then Stephanie Smart, please, on the right podium.
Hi, I'm Robin Cates, and I live at 800 9th Avenue South, directly across the street from the Canopy home. I, too, have sidewalks that end in stairs. So I have the equivalent of the corner stairs there. And just like Mr. Baker said, all of our sidewalks end in steps in our neighborhood. I don't think that this would be really any different. And I do understand that ADA is very important for our city and for people who need to traverse. But in our neighborhood, fixing one is not going to make our neighborhood very traversable for anyone who has mobility issues. But this will alleviate the problem of people having near misses with cars in such a tiny space. The wall is up to here. I couldn't jump up on it if cars came through or anything like that. So just saying that having a little bit of a sidewalk there would be great, because we do use that to walk. It's a very walkable neighborhood. We can walk to downtown and do many things, and so people do use that thoroughfare quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Stephanie Smart on the right, and then Sylvia Loudon? Loudine? Please.
Hi, Stephanie Smart. I live at 809 Prospect Court South. My home has two addresses. The other one is 808 8th Street South, which is directly across from the sidewalk, or not non-sidewalk, that we were talking about. In fact, the video took you right. I think the videographer was actually parked behind my house to take that picture. To take that video. So I see the traffic on that street daily. I'm engaged in the traffic on that street daily, backing out of a little driveway. The traffic on that street is one of the reasons that drove us to redesign the entire back of our house so we could get off-street parking, because there's other neighbors that park on that street full-time. So an already narrow street becomes a narrower passage. Two cars cannot pass each other the way it is constructed, and one car and a pedestrian, let alone a pedestrian and a dog, which is probably 90% of the pedestrian traffic. And the 90% of that pedestrian traffic is coming down 8th Street South to that stairwell to the park to take their dogs for a walk. That is inherently non-ADA compliant. I'm all about people being able to navigate our neighborhood. However, if we destroy a wall and a tree to put a sidewalk in to be ADA compliant, to go to all the other non-ADA compliant aspects of the neighborhood, it makes no sense. So if you, sir, presented me that question that Domenico didn't want to answer, but if Domenico asked me that question, I would say, please leave our wall and our tree and no sidewalk. However, safety concerns for the 90% of the people, probably 99% of the people that use it, would tell me this would be a good case for an exception, if one exists, to that ADA requirement to put an on-grade sidewalk. And I applaud Canopy and their engagement on this issue and their cooperation. And I thank you for your time today. Got nothing more.
The last card on this side will be Elizabeth, and it looks like the pen let out. Is it Shu? Sha? Yeah. Please.
Yes, so my name is Sylvia Laudine Mayo, and I live at 846 8th Avenue South, so that's like half a block away from the property. So I wanted to just, support the arguments of I'm also on the board, on the neighborhood board, so I'm also speaking as a member of the board. So I would say the historic part of the historic landmark nomination of our neighborhood, I find really important, into what Domenico explained before, that it was really designed as part of the City Beautiful movement, a neighborhood that does have, for that reason, ups and downs and hills and valleys and steps. So that, I think, is a very important part of the neighborhood. And so the sidewalks, why they do lead to shopping, and like what Robin said, that people do use sidewalks, of course, to get from A to B and C. It's different from like a downtown neighborhood where you need like ADA approval to really navigate and, get like from one destination to the others. People also walk just for walking, right? And so for that reason, people who walk with dogs, walk with children's and strollers or walkers, they will enjoy and need to enjoy safely to walk around the neighborhood and need a sidewalk to get away from the traffic. And then it doesn't, I think, matter if it's like a dead-end sidewalk where they can turn around. If you can't use steps, you can walk still. The sidewalks, even if you have to turn around, they'll be part of your stroll or part of your enjoying an historic neighborhood, part of enjoying your own neighborhood, but you don't necessarily need the steps to get further, because then you couldn't get further down towards like the Rosa Park Drive anyways, right? So having the sidewalk would add really to people being able to take walks, enjoy the neighborhood, and connect with the neighborhood. So for that reason, I think there could be a pass on the ADA approval and would really support what we need as a neighborhood and keep it, historically correct. So that would be mine.
Thank you. Ann, as she resets you, you have your 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Shue. I live at 450 Roser Park Drive South for the last 20 years, and I've been sworn in. I'm here to ask you to deny the variance and install a hexagonal block sidewalk. The staff report claims that the sidewalk is not in the local historic district. However, the first page of the packet I gave you shows the district's boundary from the city's GIS. The yellow and pink properties are in the local historic district, and the black dotted line is the district's boundary. The local historic district includes not only 8th Street, but the right-of-way and where the missing sidewalk was. There is a garage in the northeast corner of the property, which is shown lightly, and the stairs going up to the north side of the missing sidewalk are immediately south and to the east of this now demolished building. The next photos in the packet should show the existing original stairs on the north side of the missing sidewalk. I'll surmise that the sidewalk which was removed was old hexagonal block. It doesn't make sense that they would have put in hex block in the front of the building and not going around the side, as well as we had testimony of a witness who had seen it. The missing sidewalk also leads to the hex block sidewalk that continues to the stairs going back down to Roser Park Drive, also shown in your packet. While the staff report states that the photos couldn't be found, the property is part of the National Historic District and has a Florida Master Site File, PI 05581, which should have pictures confirming the type of sidewalk that was removed. Unfortunately, I just learned of this yesterday and couldn't request the file. It seems that a certificate of a COA or similar process should have been completed for the southern sidewalk stairs, which are in the local historic district. The next two pictures in the packet show from 2011 show the original stairs leading to the south side of the missing sidewalk, and it is followed by a recent picture of the completely new stairs, which were installed while taking out approximately 3 to 5 feet of existing hex block, as well as part of the retaining wall, and replacing it with concrete. Just because the previous owner illegally removed the hex block sidewalk and the city never forced compliance from the property owner to replace it, does not mean that the neighborhood should lose one of its historical features forever. It is the city's role to protect the historic districts. The missing sidewalk added to the flow of the neighborhood and allowed neighbors to safely walk down to Brook or Creek. Cars do use this section of 8th Street, and pedestrians forced to walk in the street cannot step out of traffic on the west side of the street due to the retaining wall, nor on the east side when cars are parked there. The city attempting to force ADA compliance in an all-or-nothing situation and continuing to force everyone to walk in the street is really unacceptable. The missing sidewalk has been a safety hazard for too long, and now is the time to replace what was lost and fix the hazard. I urge you to deny the variance and move the matter for replacing the sidewalk towards the CPPC. Thank you.
All right, going through the procedure here so we can get to executive session. We do have the opportunity for cross-examination and closing. City staff, do you have any cross-examination questions?
Staff waives.
The appellant, sir, do you have any cross-examination questions? Appellant's indicating that he waives. Applicant, do you have any cross-examination questions? Applicant is indicating that they waive. Staff, do you have any closing remarks?
All right. Okay, so just wanted to provide clarification that the site is located in a National Register designated Historic Rosa Park District as a contributing resource and not within a local designated historic district. And additionally, staff recommends you deny the appeal, therefore approving the variance to remove the requirement to construct a sidewalk along 8th Street South, trusting that staff will continue to work with the state representatives, engineering, ADA office, the applicant, and property owner to install a sidewalk at existing grade. Thank you.
Thank you. Applicant, do you have any closing remarks? And this would be your chance, Mr. Kiernan, I think, to ask your question. Or was it you?
I'm good.
Okay, all right, all right.
So just wanted to echo that, we hear everybody's concerns and thoughts on this. The ADA really is the crux of the issue here. We've stated on the record that we're happy to continue working with staff. I think Derek made an excellent suggestion of having it be a separate right-of-way permit, so that way we can get the veteran into his home for the holidays, committed to being a great neighbor and continuing to stay in St. Pete and have the sidewalk put in place if ADA on grade is permitted.
And just to clarify, I'm happy to do that. If the city would donate some hex blocks, we'd be happy to do the sidewalk out of hex blocks too. We could do it out of yellow bricks too, but hex blocks is probably better. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. And then lastly, the appellant, do you have any closing remarks?
Thank you again. This is actually, as arduous as it's been, it's actually a nice experience. Everybody seems to care about our neighborhood. I just want to, just a clarifying point. The house, the property itself, is not in the locally protected historic district, but 8th Street is in the local designation, and so I just want to make that clarifying remark. And Ms. Shu, I believe, passed out some documentation that shows where the boundary is. I just want everybody to keep that in mind when we're moving forward, because I do know that the city is going to be doing some more due diligence, and I just want to make sure that that point is understood, that the historic designation is significant and possibly pursuing an exception, as it were, to the PROAG guidelines. Thank you again.
We'll move into executive session. I'll start with some questions. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't have questions.
Okay.
I have a question. Yeah. Would the appellant, we heard Derek's comments about if you were to, in my parlance, separate this out and make it a right-of-way question for a later day, would the appellant be agreeable to that? Do you understand? You can come up. Do you understand my question?
Yes, I do. I'm sensing a lot of mixed reactions from the rest of my residents. We love Canopy Builders and we do trust them. I just want to know what kind of guarantee do we have that the city will see this through. To be completely candid, there's, as someone mentioned earlier, there's a lot of infrastructure failures in our neighborhood that we're still waiting to be fixed. So I just want some kind of guarantee that the city will follow through and resolve this in a timely manner if we skip the standard procedure. And I don't know what that would look like, but we'd like some reassurance somehow.
Well, I mean, I'll make a comment that your word of timely, I think you need to understand that in the world that we're all sitting in is not the same timely that a resident would see. I mean, I work in this field also, not just with the DRC, and I have had right-of-way vacations and plats take 18 months to complete. That's paper, right? So, I would push back a little bit on that, but in general, Katrina just put on the record that it's staff's intent to do that, and you heard that from Mr. Kilborn, who's the head of that department. That you have to take it on what you heard from staff. I can't go on the record for staff. So that can be your answer too. If that's your answer, that's fine. Yeah.
Yep. I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
I have numerous comments, but I know everybody else does too.
Yeah. Other questions, and then I think I don't even know if it'll be effective to go down the line. I think we have a lot to cover here. I'm gonna take a point of chair privilege here, and I'm gonna start with the comment, and I may have more to come, but I did make the comment about the challenge with the certificate of occupancy and basically the private party. I want to reiterate that empathy, but I also want to point out that I don't know that really weighs on my decision because. We are wrapped in red tape on the application that's presented to us, what the law allows the city to approve, and really on the code itself. And the way I see it, if we deny the variance, if we approve the appeal, we could be putting that property owner in a situation that's totally untenable. I hope that is not the case, but I am very concerned about the red tape of this. And so I will say that absent all of the promises made today, if being forced to make a decision, I would not want to perpetually tie a requirement. I think that staff got it right. Mm-hmm. That said, I don't think you can get a better assurance from city staff or from a builder than you got today. I'm not saying that it's a perfect assurance. In fact, it's not a perfect assurance. But you cannot get better than what you have today, and we're here every single month. And so that is my initial thought, and I would like to, who wants to go next?
Yeah, I mean,
we'll go down the line, I think.
I was just continually, first of all, we very rarely see an appellant and appellee who want the same thing. I mean, that's just, we start from that point. But I kept being reminded by don't let the perfect stand in the way of the good. And if we pursue the perfect, it could come with a series of unintended consequences that we're hearing very clearly that both sides don't want unequivocally, which would be an ADA compliant sidewalk. So I think staff got a very difficult situation right for the moment, and with the opportunity to pursue the perfect following this.
I would echo those comments. I think staff has been over backwards. Someone used the term city's trying to force something. City's not trying to force anything. City's trying to find a way to yes to make this work for everybody, in my opinion. I think they've done an exemplary job. I think the appellant, I commented earlier, the presentation was spot on, and it's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? We've got an appellee and appellant who want the same thing. But from my standpoint, the best way to get them there is to deny the appeal. That leaves the most options available. I'm concerned about it's not apathy. I understand where everyone's coming from, and the point made that you do 30 feet of ADA compliant material, Mr. Kieran, and that's not going to help us in the long run. I agree with that. But boy, I'm really reluctant to just say, kick the ADA to the side. I really am, like Commissioner Flint pointed out. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about, I appreciate the comments of all the folks, with maybe one exception, that this board takes very seriously what they do. We go out and visit sites, we drive the sites, we volunteer our time. We take this job very seriously. And we do not feel like we're wasting anybody's time. And I think the thoughtfulness and the reflection of the people on this board, who are, in my humble opinion, very qualified, take this job very seriously. And that said, again, I think this is the ultimate paradox. I'm going to vote to deny this appeal and grant the variance, but I think that is the best chance of them getting what they want, Chair. So that's where I'm at on this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all honestly actually more in agreement than we thought. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I think we all want to see that. And honestly, you're just going to have to trust them. I mean, I hate to say that, and I know you want something more concrete than that, but I think we might end up having something unintentional if we approve your appeal. So I'm going to side with these guys.
Yeah, well, so from the perspective of a person who's lived in St. Pete for a very long time and who loves their city and who loves this neighborhood, I do think that preserving the historic character of Roser Park is important, right? It's one of our most fabulous neighborhoods, in my opinion. However, the issue here is that we have federal law in front of us, right? ADA is not optional. It's something that, as an architect, I have to deal with daily. And even though the sidewalk existed some time ago, it doesn't currently exist. So that's the conundrum that we face here, is that we want to see the neighborhood preserved and its character preserved. Everything that exists there right now is grandfathered in. So it existed prior to the 1990 American with Disabilities Act federal regulations, and that's a civil rights law. So we have to find a solution where we do the least harm. And right now, I think denying the appeal does least harm because it gives a pathway to finding a solution that is palatable to everyone, rather than forcing a solution that may be more problematic than anticipated. So that's my point of view.
Well, I agree with my fellow commissioners. For me, this is a really hard one because when I moved here, I was kind of shocked. St. Pete and a lot of the neighborhoods are missing sidewalks, and I'm the type of person, I walk to do my groceries, I like to go on the trails, and that's one of the things that I loved about St. Pete too, is just all the trail access and the trees as well, like the loss of potentially, if we go the route and uphold your appeal, we can lose the oak tree. There's a lot of other damage and other undesired consequences that could result from that. So I think that denying right now would allow us more flexibility.
Agreed. Not much to ask or to add to this, except that, like all the commissioners, I explored in my own research, is there a way to classify this as a trail instead of a sidewalk, or, any other way around it? But I think you really are getting the best result of that you could possibly get today. So, yeah, not much more to add.
Yeah, my neighborhood does not have sidewalks and it stinks. So, I want to see a sidewalk there, but there's no, the common theme here, the denial of the appeal is actually the best chance of success here. Yes, please.
Move approval of an appeal to the, move approval of the appeal of the POD approval of a variance to remove the requirement to construct a sidewalk along 8th Street South, subject to the conditions of approval.
Second.
Kiernan?
No.
Platt?
No.
Reale?
No.
Conroy?
No.
Madelo?
No.
Gonzalez?
No.
Hugglestone?
Nope.
Appeal. Motion for the appeal fails unanimously.
Does the commission need a break? Everyone do the last one.
Quick one?
Yeah, okay, so I always say this, and we're not good at it. 3:30, we're gonna start at 3:30.
Breaking until 3:30.
Last of the applicants here. Appellant.
Oh, okay, I was like, wait.
You want to put something on the record? Yeah. So, as gentle as I can. So we're back in session. The last case is another appeal. It's item 9, case 2531000011. The appellant is not present, so I think staff, Corey, you want to put something on the record about that?
Correct. I guess we might want to read her name into the record. Romina Trovobilova, and then Hector Manuel Santamarai. No one's in the audience. I did email them, as well as Derek Kilburn, the director of the planning department. He also made a phone call and an email, and last week we did email them the staff report, and told, and gave them the information in the agenda. So we did reach out at least 4 times to them in 2 different forms of communication. I mean, I can kind of briefly just kind of go through this so there's a record.
Well, I mean, I think we're still gonna go through the record, just so you can stop there and we'll come back to you.
Do the thing without them.
Yeah. And then, before we start too, just to have the applicant confirm, we have 6, because we had 1 that had to leave, and the applicant is confirming they want to move forward with 6. And so we will start with the item, so back to staff.
All right, so the property is located at 296 Mirror Lake Drive North. And we're getting a PowerPoint, there we go. The property is bounded by 3rd Ave North, Mirror Lake Drive North, Burlington Avenue North, and 8th Street North. There we go. The parcel located at the southeast corner of the subject block is not part of this project. Existing site survey showing the existing building kind of at the top of the right screen, which would be like the northeast corner. And then you have the 2 surface parking lots located on the west side. The building that's located on the northeast corner is the Tomlinson Building. It's a 3-story building. Construction of that building started in 1923 and it was occupied at some point in 1924. The property is an L-shaped property and it's divided by 2 existing alleyways. One is the east-west, one is north-south. You did recommend approval of a teeny little alley today the next item will have to go before city council, and well, this doesn't want to show up on the board, but it's a little teeny alley in that parking lot to the south. This is just some of the existing conditions from Mirror Lake. Looking at the actual Tomlinson Center, there's a lot of tree canopy right there. And you can see the Lyceum on the bottom right-hand corner in the yellowish mustard color. And then you have the reflection tower in the back, which is the 18-story building. Again, a little close-up again of Tomlinson to your left, the Lyceum to your right, and the reflection to the back. Close-up of the Lyceum along Mirror Lake. This is looking at, if I was at the Portland, which is where the appellant lives, looking back at the Tomlinson Center and the parking lot that you see. So this is 8th Street, and then that's 3rd Avenue. This is the opposite corner, so again, 8th Street and Burlington, looking into the parking lots. And you actually can see through, and you'll see the 250 Mirror Lake, which is the new development that's one of our commission members was working on, who had recused themselves, as well as a reflection. And then the co-op building is located off to your right-hand side, and that's a 6-story building as well. And the reflection is 18-story. Here you can see the Portland again to your left. That is a 12-story building. That's an 18-story building. Again, the reflection. And then you can also, again, see the Tomlinson Center, which is 3 stories, and the existing 250 house that will be converted. That's a 2-story. There will be a proposed 7-story condo building on the site behind that house at 250 Mirror Lake. That was approved by the commission as well. Another site, just looking again at 250 Mirror Lake in the foreground, and then the parking lots of the Tomlinson, and then you can see again the reflection. So this is the proposed site plan. So the existing Tomlinson Center will stay untouched for the most part. The proposed tower will be located to the west in the existing surface parking, and a parking garage will be located to the southwest surface parking lot. Access to the parking garage will come from Burlington Avenue. Services will be for dumpster loading will occur from the east-west alleyway. There'll be some amenity space on the ground floor of the new tower, as well as some lobby areas in the new tower on the first floor. The Tomlinson Center building will have a lobby area oriented towards Mirror Lake. And there, of course, will be some lobby areas in the garage for access off of 8th Street as well. And then pedestrian access, of course, to the buildings will be from the public sidewalks. The Tomlinson Center, they're not connected because they are separated by a public alleyway. I'm going to see if this still works, but it's not. But there's some back doors that exit from the Tomlinson Center as well as from the tower that are right across from each other. Our engineering department wants, of course, the sidewalk to go up to the public rights-of-ways. They don't want pedestrian traffic in the alley, but there will be some direct connects between the 2 buildings utilizing the space there as well. And this is just a concept plan of the landscape. These are the elevations from 3rd Avenue. So it's described by the architect. The proposed residential tower adopts a traditional turn-of-the-century architectural language for approximately 50 feet in height from the street level to correspond with the appropriate height of the Tomlinson Center. And as you can see, the lower base of the new building on the right-hand side does align with that height of the Tomlinson. The architectural language includes the use of brick, cast stone, stucco, cladding, which corresponds to materials used in the property's contextual surroundings. Additional window openings and glazing utilize black or dark bronze aluminum frames and mullions. Above 50 feet, the facade utilizes a contemporary transitional architectural language. This continues the rhythm and spacing established at the ground level through panel clad pilasters and extensions of the concrete floor slab at regular intervals. The proposed cladding at the upper level blends stucco and a rain screen panel system with contrasting colors and textures to create three distinct architectural elements throughout the facade. The windows openings of the upper tower consist of fixed and single hung windows and are proposed slightly narrower than the ones at the base of the building. Also, the tower includes a cornice which reinforces a decorative profile similar to what is used on the building's base. There's an elevation from Burlington. You can see the existing Tomlinson Center in the distance. The Tomlinson will be blocked by future development, and that's proposed garage in the foreground on the left-hand side and the tower to the rear. These are the, again, this is the proposed garage on the left-hand side, which will be blocked by the existing development proposed for that block, and the Mirror Lake view of the building of Tomlinson and the tower in the back. And this will be with the view along 8th Street with the garage and the base of the building. And the design of the garage also incorporates elements from the tower. We did add some conditions of approval to ensure the fenestration on the first floor mimics the fenestration of the garage above, and to make sure there's some storefront glazing in the two lobby entrances that provide access into the upper levels. The applicant actually is just seeking a height bonus. They are not seeking FAR bonuses this time. They are proposing workforce housing. Workforce housing is 100% exempt from FAR calculation. The base height in this district is 125 feet, and they're going for 150 feet. And at 150 feet requires public notice at a streamlined level approval. This streamlined approval for the additional 25 foot was appealed. Appeal was submitted on the last day, which was going to be the November date, November 18th. And the appeal included 5 different items. One was referring to the reflection on 3rd Avenue North, and mostly with construction noise and activity, as well as some construction activity and noise from 348th Street, which is currently a 3-story townhome building being constructed. Again, the building department regulates construction activity and noise in their Chapter 8, which is sections 8.6 and 8.7. The DRC cannot use construction activity or noise for denial of this application. The same can be said for the street closures, which are temporary. On-street parking was another issue, which is available to the general public. Building lighting also was an issue of the reflection, but they need to comply with the section 1.40.070 lighting. If there's any violations to any of the perceived code sections, we do have codes department, the police department, as well as the building department. Another issue was the 13-story building with the height bonus will block the view that they have of Mirror Lake. Again, their height is 150 feet, which is allowed through streamline approval. The appellant lives at the Portland, which was also approved for a height bonus at 130 feet. And then we have reflection just directly to the north, which was recently completed and topped off and is being occupied, and that was approved for 200 feet. Another one was the historic character of the area. So the existing Tomlinson Center building is now located within a local district that was adopted roughly a year ago in December 12th, 2024. The 2 parking lots are not protected. Our historic division, under direction of the Director of Planning by Derek Kilborn, did review the proposed plans, did not object to the proposed additions of the tower and the garage or the locating or siting of these buildings. The existing alleys also kind of keep separation between all the buildings, also alleviating any concerns about facades of the historic building being blocked. As well as talking about the existing education building was closed and relocated and now be replaced by luxury housing. Excuse me. Again, this is going to be a workforce housing project, which is basically units cannot exceed 120% of the area median income, and they will be required to go through our housing department to guarantee that all those units meet that for us to fully exempt 100% of the FAR. 5 was the development of a 4 or 5